What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. As some of y'all might have seen or have read on Facebook or other platforms like that, recently I have started creating some content for SaltStrong. If you do not know who SaltStrong is, they are an online community, mainly educational fishing material. They have content for like beginners all the way up to advanced. And really up until this point, it's been all inshore related. A lot of kayak stuff, a lot of like bank fishing, inshore boats. And that's how they have built this business, built this empire. I mean, they are large. They've kept everything in-house, meaning like you will not walk into your local tackle shop and find SaltStrong products on the shelves. They're creating their own tackle. They're partnering with other companies to create tackle. And they've got this thing figured out, guys, as far as like online community, sales online and things like that. And these guys are like content creating masters. I mean, they are constantly uploading material. I can't open up social media without seeing some sort of SaltStrong video. So a few months back, I started seeing this little push. It wasn't a lot, but I started seeing some videos pop up surf fishing related with SaltStrong. I kept my eye on it for a little while. I saw some more pop up and I reacted. Basically, I just pitched to them, hey, let me create you guys some educational material for your platform. This is not a contract, guys. This is not I'm getting paid, nothing like that. It's really I'm just trying to get my foot in the door with these guys. Why? Exposure. These guys have the ability to launch me to the next level. So I created one video for them a few weeks back and it did well, like inside their community and out. And I did a follow-up video for that also. I don't think it's out yet. And these are different videos for me to do, guys, right? So full exposure, I don't have much of a plan when I turn on the cameras. Like I know I'm going fishing, right? And I'm pretty sure of the target species, but other than that, man, I'm just winging it. So to do videos like this, like very precise education videos, like teaching, you know, it's something new to get used to. And really it's harder and like it's shorter content, right? Like my videos 20 to 30 minutes, right? So they're trying to pump everything down into like 8 minutes. And again, I'm not used to that either, right? I mean, I usually have a lot of clips to play with to make my personal videos. With the SaltStrong stuff, like I'm going over, man, right? Like those 8-minute videos are being like 15-minute videos, and then I'm having to cut them down and cut them down. So it's been kind of a challenge. It really has. So today I wanted to show you some of that stuff, right? I got 2 sand flea videos I did for them. I'm gonna throw them up here and let you guys check them out. But just in case you don't follow them or haven't seen those videos, I'd like the opportunity for my followers to see those too, because they're packed full of information, guys. And this is gonna be a great video for you new guys, the guys that are just getting into this thing. Sand fleas is key, y'all. You gotta know how to spot them, catch them, store them, all that. So that's what we're gonna do today, guys. We're gonna go over some material I have been creating for SaltStrong. Hope y'all enjoy. In this video, you're gonna learn how to spot, catch, and store the #1 bait for surf fishing, sand fleas, or mole crabs, depending on what part of the country you're in. Learning these tricks and tips will absolutely skyrocket your beach fishing abilities. Pompano, whiting, red, black drum all love sand fleas. Once I figured out this game, my surf fishing abilities took off. My name is Blaine Roberts from Panhandle Salt Beach Fishing, guys. I'm one of the newest pro staff with SaltStrong. Obviously, I will be covering surf fishing content. We've been operating since 2021 and have run hundreds of beach guides along the Pensacola, Perdido Key area. Sand fleas are the ticket, guys. Like, you got to learn how to get sand fleas. You're gonna be successful out here. Spotting them is key. Once you learn how to spot them, guys, the rest is easy. During the warmer months, they're a lot easier because they're coming to the surface. Late fall, early spring, and then obviously winter, they dig down deep. It's almost impossible to actually spot them physically in the colder months. You can do what we call blind rake, so you're just basically guessing. Raking and raking and raking until you come up with some. But as temps start rising, so do the sand fleas. You'll be able to spot the pods in the sand. I picked this spot here today because there's pods everywhere. I saw them walking up. Once you're able to see the sand fleas, you'll never be able to unsee them. It'll be so obvious. The best way I've explained it to customers over the years running guides is it almost looks like the sand is boiling. When the water washes up and it pulls back down, it pulls the sand off the sand fleas' backs. They feel exposed from predators, especially birds. So once that sand pulls off their back, they'll start digging deeper. And you'll see the sand, it'll look like it's boiling, and then it just stops. And they're tricky, guys, because you'll spot them the waves will come up and come down and then they'll be gone. And it's real important not to tromp around by them because they will feel your vibration and they'll dig deeper. They're a tricky little creature. Before we get into spotting these guys, let's just go over the anatomy of a sand flea. Your little antennas right here on top, those are its eyes. So when this thing is buried in the sand, they'll leave the eyes sticking up so they can see. Then you have the digger. This is actually what'll get that guy down underneath the surface. And that's the Sour Patch Kids right there, guys. That's what the pompano are after, those eggs. You'll see a lot of synthetic baits on the market that are actually modeling their colors after sand fleas. You'll see like a white and orange synthetic or a white and gray. And then the scent on the package will actually say sand flea. And these guys will trick you because they walk backwards. You would think this is its eyes, it's gonna walk this way, but it doesn't, it goes this way. That's a quick rundown of the anatomy of the sand flea. You wanna know your bait, guys, especially for rigging purposes. And as you can see, guys, we got many different sizes here. And this is where you just kind of start playing with it, right? I'm gonna start off with a mid-size. The big ones I rarely have luck on, but you can cut those guys in half and they're very effective. And then you got some real small ones. I don't see any tiny ones. They get a lot smaller than this, guys. So as you can see, they come in all shapes and sizes. We're gonna start with some mid-range ones, about like that big. Before we get into finding these, I just want to show you guys their movements, like how they act, right? Because that's very important to know how your bait is acting in a natural setting. We're going to take it down here to the shoreline. And I'm going to drop them, and you'll see they dig. They walk backwards. They basically just disappear. Once you spot a pod, you have to kind of stay behind them. If you walk up on them, they are gonna feel your vibration and they're gonna dig deeper. I got a good spot on them up here. I'm watching the water pull the sand off their back. I'm giving it a couple goes just to make sure I really got a good eye on them. And I do, because when you run up on them, you're basically running up on them blind. Get up there as quick as possible and get them. There you go, guys. That will most definitely get us going, if not last a trip. One scoop. All right, guys, I'm gonna show you what I'm looking at. I got the screen up here, and where my cursor is a pod of fleas. So I'm gonna back it up a little bit. We're gonna let it play. They're right there. They disappeared. I tried to get the camera a little bit closer. Right there, guys. That's them. See how quick they get under the sand? There they are again a little bit. At this point, they started feeling me and they stopped showing up. I think they show themselves one more time. They're right there. They're tricky, guys. You can see them from far away, but the closer you get, the deeper they're gonna dig. Big hit, Thunder. That's a big rod, dude. You gonna be able to handle it?
Yeah!
All right, get the pressure on him. Get the pressure on him. That was a big hit, guys. That's a 12-6 too. So that's a thick rod, man. That's a pompano, Thunder. Get him in. Come on, reel, reel, reel. He's running in on you. Reel, reel, reel. Get in front of him. Walk, walk, get in front of him. Keep it reeling. Go, come on. Keep that rod tip up. He's taking you all the way down the beach, dude. All the way down the beach. Look how far we are. Come on. Oh, yeah, you got him. He's on the lip. Look. He was right there, dude.
I think I catched it.
Oh, you caught it. You reeled it all the way in. So what do you do when the session's over and you still have a basket full of fleas? Like, you don't want to get rid of them. Some days they can be hard to get, and especially if you're coming back out, let's say that next morning. As you can see, we still got a healthy amount left. I don't want to just get rid of these guys. We're going to get them back to the house, and I'm going to show you how to store these properly to keep them alive overnight. To store fleas overnight, you're gonna need a couple items, guys. 2 5-gallon buckets. One, you wanna have holes drilled in the bottom. This is an older bucket I've had around for years in the garage, so I went with this one to drill holes. Then another 5-gallon bucket, could be anything. I use this one for fishing. This is actually the bucket I use to bleed out fishing on the beach. Then any kind of ice pack. It could be shaped like this. It could be one of these. It could be these like medical packs that come with medicine that are being shipped through the mail. Whatever kind of ice pack you can find, you can even use like an actual ice bag. I just keep a bunch of things like this in the freezer just for this purpose. You want to get a few ice packs in the bucket without holes. This is going to be on the bottom. Then you're going to take your bucket with holes, slide that guy right on top, and then dump your fleas in. Now you got something that looks like this. All your fleas are in there nice and happy. And then once, probably about every 4 hours. Now at night, guys, when you're going to sleep, obviously you don't have to set an alarm to come do this, but I would do this right before I went to sleep. You're gonna take the bucket that has the holes and the fleas and rinse it down. Just let the water drain out. And what this is doing, guys, it's getting all the waste out. These sand fleas will die basically because of their urine. Their urine will kill them. They'll crawl around in it and things like that. You don't need any kind of water in this bucket. You don't need any kind of sand in this bucket. Absolutely nothing. Once you got that good and drained, put it back on top of your ice bucket. And that's it, guys. This will keep your fleas nice and happy overnight, especially moving into summer, the hotter months. You know, you don't want to leave these guys outside, right? Rodents are going to get them, birds are going to get them. Like, so you want to leave them in the garage, and it gets hot in there. Those ice packs will keep these guys cool. They're basically sitting like right on top of those ice packs without it actually touching them. This will 100% keep your fleas happy and alive for the next morning. In this video, guys, I'm going to show you how to rig the #1 bait for surf fishing, sand fleas. I'm going to give you 3 methods I've used for years running surf fishing guides. This is not the only 3 methods to do it, guys. It's just the way I've been doing it that's been successful for me. First thing we got to do, guys, we got to catch some. Thunder! These little beauties today, guys. Those are like money size. Let's start with the basics, guys. Just your standard pompano rig. Most surf fishermen are using either 1/0 or 2/0 hooks, so these are 1/0s today. This is just your basic single drop floating a bead. This is what you'll find at every tackle shop. And now I'm going to go over how I rig these guys just like your standard way, same way I've been doing it for years. I go in by his head. So again, this is his head. You'll see a little crack right there. Get my hook in there. There's a little crack. I call that the butt crack, but again, that is not the butt. I go in right of the side of that, being careful not to hit the middle. If I hit the middle, I'm gonna kill it. And then once I fill the outer shell, I just slowly work it through, and it gives it this nice little presentation. The hook's off to the side. This guy can still move around. Obviously, he's not dead. And that's got a good grip on the hook, like when you're slinging a long cast. I always look at the shell, make sure it's not cracked anyway. Sometimes you will crack it if you go too hard. But as you can see here, it has a nice little puncture. Hook went straight through. We got plenty of gap right there for a fish to get hooked on. And this sand flea will crush. So once a fish hits that, this guy will crush down and he'll get hooked. Sand fleas come in all sizes, guys, so we're gonna do that same style rigging with a little tiny one. It doesn't matter the size, you can get this done. Again, we're gonna make sure we have his head. Look for that little crack down the middle. Go right to the side of it. Once I feel that point hit the shell, I slow it down a little bit and just work it really easily. We got a nice presentation. He's still moving, he's alive. And we have plenty of gap in that hook. So why do we use drops with our leaders surf fishing? There's a few different reasons. So with a double drop, you're covering two different zones. You got one drop closer to the bottom, and you got one drop higher up in the water column. Great way to find fish quicker. Over the years, I've transitioned into single drops for many different reasons. Too much to go into right now, but I'm basically a single drop using guy. And what the drops also do is keeps our bait off the bottom, again, for multiple reasons. We got them little bottom feeders down there, stingrays. Stingrays love to cruise the bottom. And with live bait like sand fleas, they'll dig down in the sand. So let's say you're throwing this on a Carolina style rig. This guy's gonna be laying on bottom. He's gonna dig and bury himself, and the fish will never see him. I'll show you a way to overcome that. So here we have our Carolina style rig. I got a slider on it, so I got the slider on the main line with the weight. Then I got my leader to my hook. I use these mainly for drum fishing, but sand fleas make a great drum bait. So I'll show you how to hook a flea on a Carolina style rig that keeps them from digging underneath the surface. We are gonna go completely opposite of everything I just told you guys, and we're gonna find his butt. We're gonna find this digger. We're gonna pull that digger up, and you gotta be very careful. Work, 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 and just push it through. There we go. Now this guy is hooked on his digger. He ain't digging nothing, guys. So you can safely throw this guy and let him sit on bottom, and he ain't going nowhere. It will also expose his eggs. If this guy had eggs, it would expose his eggs more, which would attract fish. So you have sand flea on digger, leader, you have your slider weight on your main line. This is a great method to fish for drum out here. Now let's talk about the bigger fleas. I've caught some of the biggest fish of my life and smallest on big fleas. There's a lot of debate out there, guys, with the big fleas. A lot of people just throw them back. They won't even use them. I have discovered a method with these big fleas that has produced a lot of fish for me, guys. And I'm gonna share that with y'all now. If you keep getting rakes and rakes full of big fleas, don't fret. You're gonna hook him just like you would the traditional way, right to the side of that little crack, work him through the shell. He's nice and hooked, looks delicious, but it might be too much bait for what we're targeting. Pompano have a fairly small mouth, guys. I've played around with a lot of pompano over the years, especially when I'm cleaning them. Opening their mouths, you know, and things like that, just to really see how big of an opening they have. And although, yeah, it's a smaller mouth like compared to other fish we're targeting out here, it still opens up pretty big. But just like inshore fishing, sometimes they don't want a challenge, especially in the real hot months or the real cold months. They're lethargic. They don't want to chase anything down. They don't want to fight. They want an easy meal. So just like inshore fishing, we drop our plastics down, right? You can do the same thing with a big flea, and this is the way you can do it, which it'll stay on the hook. Once I have it hooked and rigged, then I come in with my scissors and I cut him in half. If you try to cut it in half first and then rig it, it's gonna be very brittle. I made that mistake for a long time, guys. And then one day it just hit me. Like, why don't I cut it second? I've been using this method for about 2 years now, guys, and it produces. You still got your eggs in there, you got some juices flowing, and I will use that second half for my up close rods. Why my up close rods? Because I'm not putting a lot of oomph into my cast. I'm basically just tossing those guys right off the shoreline. So there's not a lot of velocity going to sling my little brittle half a flea off. Big flea, get him rigged, cut him in half, and catch some pompano.